get into that last bracket, greatest highlight of all time. You, the fans, have narrowed it down from 100 to 16. And after playing out our bracket, you're down to Michael Ruzione's go-ahead goal in the 1980 Olympics against the Soviet Union and Boise State's Statue of Liberty play to end things up against Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl.
Ruzione! Michael Ruzione! You believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable!
Fake play, they're going to score! Ian Johnson! And the Broncos have won the Fiesta Bowl! Can you believe it?
So what's the greatest highlight of all time? Again, Michael Ruzzione, the go-ahead goal of the Statue of Liberty play for Boise State. The decision is yours. You can vote on ESPN.com. Search greatest highlight. To vote from your cell phone, text SC, that's SportsCenter, to 4ESPN. Results on SportsCenter this Sunday.
Greatest Highlight with Chris Berman. Brought to you by Old Spice Pro Strength.
I think that makes sense. Normally you have this all-time votes. Usually the newest thing doesn't deserve to be there because it's fresh in people's mind. But I think that Boise State does belong in there against the Miracle on Ice.
Great play, great story. Before we go, the Senators have fired their coach, John Paddock. Although they're the third best team in the Eastern Conference, he's been fired. I'm Chris McKendry.
After 2 games, too. Thanks for trying. I'm Brian Kenny. Bye-bye.
To ESPN Wednesday Night Hoops, presented by Staples. Tonight, the 7th-ranked Kansas Jayhawks take on the Iowa State Cyclones from Hilton Coliseum in Ames, part of Judgment Week, presented by Jockey. The Jayhawks a game and a half behind one of the hottest teams in the country. The Texas Longhorns needing a win tonight to get to double figures. Iowa State needing a win to tie Missouri for 10th place in the Big 12. They will have the home crowd behind them, and this is a place where Kansas last year was pushed to overtime before winning 68-64. Welcome to Ames. Dave Barnett along with Stephen Bardo. Bill Self said it himself today. He said we've been stinking it up. Certainly by Kansas standards, no one expects 2 losses in 3 games, 3 of the last 7. How do they get set right tonight?
Well, they've got to get some leadership from the backcourt. Mario Chalmers and Russell Robinson have struggled in that department. Sharon Collins, the 3rd guard, could fill that void, but he's been injured, so they have to get over the hump here, Dave, and find a way to get it done on the road.
As we check our Star Watch, they will have to deal with one of the hottest big men in the country, Yuri Ubalik.
Ubalik has really stepped his game up. You see the numbers there last 6 games. He used to be primarily a perimeter player. Now he's comfortable in the block. And Darnell Jackson, someone must have told him he has a chance to play at the next level because he's been playing inspired basketball in the last 10 games.
Our starting lineups presented by Papa John's, and the usual 5 for Bill Self of Robinson, Chalmers, Rush, Arthur, and Jackson. They are without Roderick Stewart, not with the team because of tragic circumstances. We'll discuss at Iowa State with the usual 5 of Peterson, Johnson, Clark, Brackens, and Ubalik, who has led the Cyclones in scoring 7 straight games for Greg McDermott, their 2nd-year head coach, right at 500. Bill Self, 7-2 against Iowa State. Mark Whitehead, Fern Harris, and John Hampton officiating tonight. The Jayhawks control the opening tip. Russell Robinson out front with Arthur and Chalmers. And Rush inside quickly for the left-handed hook. Missed by Arthur, rebounded by Ubalik.
As scripted by Bill Self, they love to start inside, get Darrell Arthur established early, and then work their way out to the 3-point line.
Iowa State coming off a loss in Lubbock Saturday, 76-64, mainly because they couldn't get to the free throw line, and when they did, they couldn't hit. 4 for 9, outscored 20-4. And a missed offensive rebound opportunity by Brackens back over to Kansas.
Saw the textbook pressure on the wings that time by Rush and Chalmers. The 9 passes to the wing kind of made Iowa State take a rush 3 there. Good defense to start out for Kansas.
Jayhawks off a 1-point loss at Oklahoma State as Arthur gets the jump hook.
Good patience by Darrell in the post. You saw him take the first look. Brackens didn't really move, and Arthur used his athleticism to get that shot off.
He's got a lot of it. Their leading scorer, 13.5 per game. Evidence of their balance. They don't have a 14-point scorer for the third straight year.
Trying to feed the big fella running the floor there, Darnell Jackson.
And Rashawn Clark, big-time rebounder, defensive stopper. Wesley Johnson nails the three.
That's big for Iowa State, obviously getting off on the right track. And Wesley Johnson's been battling injuries. Not quite as athletic as we're used to seeing him. Some foot and ankle injuries, but I'm sure he'll be fine tonight.
Arthur with a miss outside. Robinson steals the offensive rebound. And Rush is in and out with a rebound foul. Kansas perfect outside the Big 12 with their 3 losses on the road by a total of 13 points. 9 at Kansas State, first time there 25 years, 3 at Texas, and then Saturday 1 at Oklahoma State.
Darrell Arthur looks like he hurt his hand a little bit. Sasha Khan comes in for him.
And Brandon Rush, who had the last shot in Stillwater. It's the 3 for the lead here.
When Brandon Rush is rolling, Kansas is tough to beat. Chalmers can get his shot at any time. Darnell Jackson and Arthur get theirs, but if Rush can really be aggressive, it lets everybody else settle into their roles.
Brackens lets it go off his foot and out of bounds. And already Sasha Khan into the game. Darnell Jackson with a screen up high. And Chalmers with a nice scoop finish.
So that's a pretty finger roll by Chalmers. Those long arms, only 6'1", but his arms make him look closer to 6'3", and he can get in that paint and finish.
Arthur patched up, apparently. Ready to come back in, first opportunity. 3 minutes in, Jayhawks by 4.
Kansas really aggressive on the pick and roll.
Speaking of aggressive, Chalmers with a breakaway.
Well, if you're a team struggling on the road, this is the start that you want in a tough place here in Hilton Coliseum where Iowa State plays very, very well. Great start for Bill Self and his club.
Almost full tonight. Very quiet so far. A bit subdued, as if they didn't really expect good things to happen tonight. Brackens, I think that was supposed to be a shot. It works like a pass, and I bet they give him an assist to Abala.
Well, and tomorrow on film session, he'll tell all of his teammates he meant to pass that as well.
Rush travels. Mario Chalmers, co-Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year last year with Marcus Dove.
Well, and that's great curl off the screen, and then this is what he does best. Leads the Big 12 and steals 5th in the nation. Very sneaky on the weak side, especially in the passing lane.
Almost 2.5 steals per game to lead the conference. That off a Kansas record, 97 steals last year as a sophomore. Helping the Jayhawks shoot well here at the beginning. Alex Thompson, junior from here in Ames, transfer from Iowa. Get off McDermott's bench and stripped this time by Robinson, unable to keep it in bounds. And a timeout. 15:45 and Ames is starting with Kansas leading Iowa State by 4.
Russell Athletic ESPN Arena Football this Saturday at 1 on ABC.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Staples. That was easy. And in part by Midas. For brakes, oil changes, tires, and more. Trust the Midas touch.
100 seasons of Iowa State basketball. They sold a record 10,000 season tickets to Hilton Coliseum this year. And they're second only to Kansas in attendance in the Big 12 this year. Better than 13,000 per game. They trailed the Jayhawks here early 9-5. It's Judgment Week, and it's really going to be a judgment couple of weeks, Stephen, for the teams that are breaking even right now in the Big 12.
Yeah, you look at those 4 teams right there and really make or break here in the next 4 games. And if I have to say who could get over that threshold, I'm looking at Baylor and possibly Oklahoma. I think Tech and A&M both have very tough roads. A&M ends at Oklahoma, at Baylor, and these Kansas Jayhawks at home. Tough road for Texas A&M the rest of the way.
Thompson does not catch iron as the shot clock expires. So might it come down for A&M and Baylor to A&M at Baylor in a week?
Yes, definitely. A&M at Baylor. And yeah, I like Baylor's chances. They got still a couple winnable games at home. I like their chances. I think A&M, however, they continue to fade.
Arthur back in and back to work with his second basket.
We talked to Coach McDermott before the game and asked him, how do you stop this Kansas juggernaut? He said, well, you hope they have an off game to begin with, but try to help a little bit on the bigs and not turn the guards loose. But easier said than done when you have a big man like Darrell Arthur that can put it on the floor like that.
And keep it in the 60s, he said. Very honestly, if it's in the 80s tonight, that is not going to include us. Three-pointer, Wesley Johnson, second already.
Well, Wesley Johnson is as tall, if not taller, than Brandon Rush. It's a little unusual for Rush defensively. Wesley elevating right over the top.
Too much on the shot by Brandon Rush. And Deontay Garrett in for the first time, freshman out of Milwaukee. Son of veteran NBAer Dick Garrett. And out of bounds off Jackson. This is Sharon Collins, who has been less than 100% all year, bothered by a foot, and now a knee, limited to 11 scoreless minutes Saturday at Oklahoma State. And being under 100% is one of the reasons Bill Self says we have been stinking it up lately. Probably said a little stronger than that.
I'm sure.
Made his point.
Yep.
Thompson short on the jump hook.
Well, to me, Dave, Sharon Collins is the key to a very deep run in the tournament for Kansas. He's the player, the X factor that can get his own shot whenever he wants to.
Sasha Khan gets his shot to crawl over the front iron.
You're talking about some of the best depth along the front line in the nation when you talk about the Jayhawks. Khan, Aldridge, both 6'10", 6'11", come off the bench to spell Darnell Jackson. And Darrell Arthur, I mean, just tremendous depth along the front line.
Johnson turns it over. Another steal for Chalmers and stolen right back by Iowa State. And Sean Haluska gets a timeout call before he can be called for steps. So we'll take it with 13:25 in the first half. Or did they get a timeout call? Didn't give it to him. Iowa State ball, didn't need the timeout. So it is Garrett missing off the Bracken screen and right back to work. Chalmers and the Jayhawks.
We saw Garrett practicing that very shot before the game. Trying to get his rhythm down, understanding how important his contribution has to be tonight. They want to pull out the upset.
Chalmers out front for the three.
Mario Chalmers feeling it early. Mixing his game up very well early. Going the dribble drive in the paint for the layup. Now moves out to the three.
And Pollock moves outside his second basket.
One thing Iowa State's not doing, Dave, is they're not putting pressure at at the rim. They're not getting anything going towards the rim. Everything is a jumper or a follow-up, but they've got to get some action going towards the rim.
Arthur in it out on the long two. Garrett, who has made 3 starts, mostly come off the bench this freshman year. And again, the man who has led the Cyclones 7 straight games in scoring, Ubalik knocks down to 3.
One exception of what I said, if they keep shooting the 3 like they've done thus far, they'll be in the game.
Kansas right back with the 3 by Collins.
Sharon Collins can heat up quickly. Power guard, only 5'10", 5'11", but 215-pound frame. He can get where he wants to on the floor when he's healthy. Trying to overcome that bruised knee. Wanted me to give a shout out to Shamari, his 10-month-old son, back in Lawrence.
Oh, air ball from 2 feet by Wesley Johnson. He's hit 2 from beyond the arc. Badly misses his closest. And in and out, the 3 by Collins, followed up by Arthur, already with 6.
That's what the length and athleticism of Kansas can do to you. They're scrambling in kind of a loose ball situation. Collins goes up with the 3. They fail to box out. You cannot do that against Arthur and Kahn.
And Arthur already with as many points as he had all day at Stillwater. And he was hampered by foul trouble in 17 minutes. He got 6 points. Chalmers feeling it for good reason. Already 10 points. Now timeout Iowa State. 10:39 first half. Kansas already with a double-digit lead.
You may not realize it, but there's a source of renewable energy right in your neighborhood, and you're helping to power it. Today, Waste Management is using the resources at our disposal to create energy from waste. Enough green energy to power over 1 million homes. From everyday collection to environmental protection, think green, think Waste Management.
Well, we just saw Mario Chalmers hit his last 3, but this is how he got it started. Getting to the bucket with the finger roll, doing what he does best in playing the passing lane. And then right there, he's starting to feel it. He hit the rim on that one, but this one is just all cotton. That's when you know Mario Chalmers is feeling it.
Already 4 out of 5, including 2 from 3. When a guard shoots 52%, that tells you 2 things about him. That, yeah, he gets some layups, quick enough to get himself to the rim, but he also has range.
Yes, he does. He's got range, and it also says to me, Dave, that he's taking good shots. Nothing forced. He's getting in the flow of the action.
So far, every shot Mario Chalmers has taken has looked good. Only missed one. Deontay Garrett cut off by Jackson. And Ubalik with, for him lately, a rare miss.
Pretty good playmaking by Garrett. Sucked the defense in, and you can't ask for much more than an open 15-footer with the defense down in the paint.
Cole Aldrich in for the first time for Kansas as Darnell Jackson spins for his first 2.
I'm laughing because Darnell Jackson, the senior, saw Brackens, the freshman, and it looked like a free meal to him along the baseline. Brackens putting up no deterrent whatsoever to Jackson getting to the hole.
Pass not intended for Haluska, and a rare miss from deep for him. He was, in his last 2 games, 6 out of 7 on threes. After starting the year, Stephen, if you can imagine, 0 for 26 beyond the arc.
What Coach McDermott tells us, he was 0 for 2007 to start the season. Unreal, but to have the moxie to keep shooting the basketball, it's a testament to him.
Last 8 games coming into tonight. Alaska 11 of 17 from 3. And Brackens rebounded by Rashawn Clark. Back inside of the baseline hook. Also won't fall for Ubalik. And then over to the back foul on Brackens, who who got perilously close maybe to getting teed up there. 53 in the first half. Jackson salivating, getting his first two. We call it Judgment Week for a reason. Presented by Jockey. It continues tomorrow on ESPN. 7 Eastern first. Notre Dame, Louisville. And that's number 17 to number 18. And then at 9 Eastern, ESPN2 has Drew Neisel and number 15 Michigan State against number 9 Wisconsin. Thursday night showcase presented by T. Rowe Price. Who are Bardo's ballers this week?
Well, we look at Courtney Lee from Western Kentucky, one of the top NBA prospects right now. He's got his team in a dead heat with South Alabama. Al Fisher clowned at St. Mary's on national television in the bracket buster, a multi-skilled guard. And Kyle McElharney, Big East Player of the Week, 2 wins last week for Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish fighting mad in that ultra-competitive Big East Conference.
Here, Kansas shooting 57% and 4 of 6 from 3 has doubled up Iowa State, which has all its scoring from just 2 men, Ubalik and Johnson. Will Self already coming at the Cyclones with waves of fresh players. Robinson after rest back in, and the drive down the baseline for Darnell Jackson's second basket.
That's why it's so good to have seniors on your ball club. Darnell Jackson's been here before. He understands how well Iowa State plays at home. He's come out with a special intensity, and it's rubbing off on his teammates here early.
Ubalik with a nice little extra step there in the low block.
Ubalik returns the favor to the freshman Cole Aldridge. Goes right through him on the post. Puts him in the bucket.
Now Aldridge's turn to respond.
But you see the difference of 4 years in the weight room that Ubalik has compared to Aldridge.
Greg McDermott says Uri has added 25 to 30 pounds of muscle since arriving on campus. Rashawn Clark not close. And out of bounds to Kansas off Alex Thompson. 7:27 in the half. Jayhawks by 13 here in Ames.
IBM presents the 25 greatest players ever. Number 8, David Thompson. Dubbed Skywalker, Thompson's game was truly above the rim. A 3-time All-American selection, the versatile Thompson led North Carolina State to the 1974 NCAA championship. IBM, getting it done.
We will count down the top 25 every night of college basketball, and we'll announce the #1 player of all time during the North Carolina-Duke game on March 8th. David Thompson, one of the players who truly changed the way basketball is played, made it more about what you can do above the rim, right?
Yeah, because the highlights showed that almost everyone was above the rim. Could have been hammered at home, but he had the presence of mind to do the finger rolls and the layups.
Quick question for you. Where's Danny Manning on this list? We haven't seen him yet.
He's got to be in the top 10 somewhere. You know, this guy, tremendous scorer, leading scorer for Kansas, leading rebounder. It was Danny Manning and the Miracles. I know Kevin Pritchard won't be happy for me to say that, but led him to a national championship, but he's got to be in the top 10 somewhere.
He wouldn't argue with that. No one could who saw it 20 years ago.
That's right.
Russell Robinson, not quite for 3.
Well, in that list, you know, to have Christian Laettner ahead of Michael Jordan, I question that a little bit. I know we got some stats in terms of the Final Fours that Duke was in and all that, but Michael Jordan was the 2-time National Player of the Year and won a national championship, winning shot his freshman year. I think that has something, yeah, that's pretty special.
Peterson able to use the Thompson pick. And with the shot clock under 5, Rashawn Clark fouled at 3 on the shot clock. And let's get a SportsCenter 30-30 update from John Saunders.
All right, news from Congress that they perhaps may be going after Roger Clemens more vehemently because of his steroid use and his denial of such. Testimony directly contradicted in sworn testimony. That's why Congress wants the FBI to look in. And utility man Scott Spezio, cut by the Cardinals on Wednesday, released after police issued a 6-count warrant for his arrest following a December car crash.
All right, back here in Ames, Rashawn Clark fouled by Darrell Arthur, his first, and Clark has hit the first of his 2 free throws. 79% at the line. Settles for 1 out of 2.
Iowa State's got to find some rhythm offensively. Haven't done a bad job on this end of the floor. Kansas, one of the better shooting teams in the country. But they've got to get something going to the rim like we just saw with Clark right there with the free throw attempts.
But they're better than all but one team in the country in field goal percentage. How about Ubalik? We've seen him drop a 3 outside and drive the baseline with a little extra on that finishing move.
Well, what happens when you get to the rim, it sucks the defense in, it softens the defense up a little bit. Then you can look for your 3-point opportunity.
Rush not quite with his runner. And to the deck, tied up. Arrow goes to the Cyclones. Have to see this again from Yuri Ubalik.
Yuri Ubalik, 6'11". Like, okay, Darnell, I'm going right past you with some English along the baseline. Look at the reverse spin on the ball. That's a pretty move by Yuri.
We asked Greg McDermott today, how did you turn him from kind of a typical European who preferred to stay outside into a banger? He said, well, I threatened to send him home.
That'll do.
He didn't want to go back to Prague.
That's a great story of a young man committing to what the coach and the team needs him to do.
Robinson too tight on Peterson and commits his first. Just the second team foul. Just the last couple of minutes we've seen the only Jayhawk fouls of this half. One on Arthur and this one on Robinson.
And that seemed to get the crowd excited because they were wondering when Kansas was going to get whistled for some fouls as well.
Ubalik has his 6th double-figure half in the last 7 games. Brandon Rush pulls down the board. Sasha Khan back in and back to work.
That high-low action by the Jayhawks is devastating if you don't get pressure on the pass. Darrell Arthur was at the top of the key. No pressure on the pass whatsoever. He can play ball all night up top if he can see where he's throwing the rock.
That's how they're out shooting almost the entire country. Better than 50% as a team. Corey Johnson. And another rebound pulled down by Rush. 2.5-minute mark.
Ubalik does a better job. He sinks back into the paint to provide support. Too late on that time.
8 for Arthur. 2 better than he had all Saturday at Stillwater.
And Dave, Kansas just doesn't give you a break. Pressure defense, they get in the passing lanes. Then on the offensive end, the big men attack the rim and the guards can hit the 3 and get to the hole.
Cyclones turn it over for the 5th time.
Look right there, no pressure on the pass whatsoever. So Arthur looks like a point guard, and then right over the top, yet again, no pressure on the passer. Kansas will pick you apart all day long if you don't deny that pass.
Cyclones after that 5th turnover, still at only 32% from the field, 7 of 22. This rebound tip to Deontay Garrett. Thought for a second they were actually going to have a transition opportunity.
Kansas put the track shoes on and got back.
It evaporated into a missed 3 by Alex Thompson. Still only 2 Cyclones have scored from the field, Ubalik and Johnson. free throw by Rashawn Clark. That's their scoring. Kahn way off, chases after his own miss, out of bounds to Iowa State. 3:19 in the half. And Kansas really yet to be threatened here at Hilton Coliseum.
John Saunders back in the studio. Coming up on the UPS halftime report, we'll look at that short-lived #1 appearance by Tennessee as they lost to Vanderbilt last night. Plus, who will be the 1, 2, and 3 seeds? We'll let you know who we think and where they stand right now. All coming up on the UPS halftime report. Guys?
All right, now, John, can Kansas still make it up to a #1 seed?
I think they can with a strong finish. I know most people have Texas there, but I still think the Kansas club can garner a #1 seed, especially if they win the conference tournament.
Even Bill Self today. Texas playing about as well as anybody in the country. Yep. Hard to see them not getting a top seed unless they just really somehow fall off a cliff that no one sees at this point. Even both these teams pushed to overtime here at Ames before winning. And again, Wesley Johnson with a 2 to follow 2 early threes.
Wesley Johnson is feeling it from that same position right in front of Kansas's bench. Letting it fly early and often.
Bollock not leaving his feet. Arthur still scores over him, and that's double figures for Durrell.
And for your inside player to play like a 3-man, up fake, 1 dribble left into a jumper, there's not going to be very many big men in college basketball can stop him on that move.
Who is going to help the twosome of Bollock and Johnson from the field? Aleska taking the loose ball. Wesley Johnson not quite that time from 3. Halfway down.
You can't fault Iowa State for their effort. They're getting on the floor for loose balls.
Arthur not looking for the pass from Collins. 3-on-2 Cyclones. Aleska has missed 2 from beyond the arc tonight. 6 of 7 his last 2 games from 3, and a timeout call. Well, Saturday, Judgment Week presented by Jockey continues on ABC and here on ESPN. 3:30 Eastern on ABC. #2 North Carolina against Boston College. 9 Eastern here on ESPN. Michael Beasley and Kansas State against these Kansas Jayhawks. College basketball presented by KFC and Saturday Primetime presented by DirecTV. Is there any way Michael Beasley is not National Player of the Year?
I don't see it. Why not? But I tell you, though, Tyler Hansborough has put up some monster numbers and has done it without his point guard the last 6 games. Ty Lawson out with a badly sprained ankle, but Michael Beasley, he's been incredible this year.
Should Derrick Rose be in that picture? Should it be 3 rather than 2? We really consider it that level?
I think so, and not necessarily from a statistical dominance for Derrick Rose, but just his effect on the for the longest, the top-seeded team in the country. Derrick Rose is outstanding, and he'll be one of those guys that will get only better at the next level. Oh, that's the 2.
The officials trying to decide 2 versus 3 here.
Well, if Wesley Johnson wore a size 11, it would be a 3, but those 14s got the big toe got on the line there, it looks like.
There's the better angle, and yeah, the toe was on the line, so they got it right. Just to make sure, though, I'm going to see all possible angles. But Wesley Johnson with this 2, 8 points. Zubalit with 11 points. And other than that, a free throw by Rashawn Clark, and that's the sum total of the Cyclone scoring. They do keep that as a 2 by Wesley Johnson.
And, Dave, they have to be very careful here. You want to go in halftime with some momentum. If they could somehow get it to under 10, be a psychological victory for them here in the first half.
Chalmers cut off at the hoop. Arthur slapped away by Clark. Still 18 on the Kansas shot clock. Collins defended well, and finally finishing it up is Arthur. How frustrating has that got to be for Iowa State? Played that well defensively, they still give up a layup.
Well, Ubalik goes for the block, and the guards don't rotate down, and it's very difficult to ask them to keep Arthur off the glass.
Now that was a three.
Johnson. He's putting up a couple of heat checks now.
Johnson leaving nothing to chance on that one. His third and 39th three of the year. Looking like finally he may be over the illness and the foot that have bothered him, really, according to Greg McDermott, pretty much all season. Missed 5 games with him.
Well, Kansas Jayhawks will have a way of making you feel better when you're trying to go against them, knowing how tough it is to slow this juggernaut down.
Jackson made a beeline for the loose ball under a minute in the first half. Collins travels.
Well, he really looks like a shell of himself. I've seen him at times get in the paint and elevate when there's nothing there and make something happen. That knee, a little shaky still.
5 turnovers apiece. Iowa State can get a couple of good possessions. They have a chance at a single-digit halftime deficit here. Darnell Jackson, though, with other ideas.
Well, the fans don't like it, but the players enjoy playing in games like this. Let them decide what happens on the floor. Let some physical play go as long as it's not dirty.
We have had a total of 4 fouls called, 2 apiece. I can't remember a game like that. And Brandon Rush got a piece. Ubalik missed the tip. Robinson with 30 seconds.
That paint area tonight is not for the faint at heart. You got to be a grown man to go in there and get some rebounds.
Well, there have been 2 Kansas fouls, 2 Iowa State fouls, and Greg McDermott has been out on the floor to argue both. His only opportunities under 10 seconds. Chalmers into the corner. Rush knocked out by Ubalik. Chalmers from way out, and that'll end the half with Kansas on top by 13, and Darrell Arthur breaking out of a 2-game slump. 8 points, 6 points tonight, already 12. And a 36-23 Jayhawk lead. Let's go to John Summers and Jimmy Dykes in the studio with the UPS halftime report. Gentlemen.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Obviously, Jimmy, it's been a struggle this year for Iowa State, but just the same, I think we're seeing an example in the first half of just how good this Kansas team can be.
You know, they have all the ingredients. What I like about Kansas, they have the guard play, they have Rush at 6'6" at the wing spot that can knock down shots. How you beat Kansas, though, is you get them into a physical ball game. Iowa State is not able to do it. And for Kansas right now in the NCAA tournament, when the officials start officiating again and they're rested and they're focused, they start blowing more fouls, that will help Kansas in the NCAA tournament because you won't be able to just push and shove them out of the way.
All right, coming up on the UPS halftime report, Vivian Stringer going for win number 800. Coach at Rutgers facing DePaul tonight. And meanwhile, we'll also take a look at who we think, as of right now, still a lot of time left to play, are the 3 seeds and up.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Jockey. Visit us online at jockey.com.
It's dip-off time!
Oh, it's playing time, baby!
Bam!
Give up the rock, baby!
Oh, you guys are awesome, baby!
You guys are lame, baby, with a capital L. But Hooters food is prime time, baby!
Watching the games, pampering from the Hooters girls, drooling over your food. Yeah, Hooters makes you feel like a kid. Please save the babies for Dickie V.
That was awesome, baby! What?
What? This is the the UPS Halftime Report.
John Saunders and Jimmy Dykes, Tennessee, #1 team in the nation. Didn't last long, losing to Vanderbilt last night. Jimmy, you were there.
Tennessee's been great all season long at being a chameleon defense, adjusting to their surroundings. Against Memphis, they had great success sagging off, making Memphis shoot threes. Last night, they did not adjust to Vanderbilt's ability to knock down threes on their home floor. That was a difference in the ball game. Tennessee, they weren't a chameleon like they usually are.
A lot of people wonder now if that means Tennessee would lose their #1 seed. Joe Lenardi, our bracketologist, says no. In fact, Tennessee still would remain a #1 seed, according to him, if things play out the way they are, along with Memphis, North Carolina, and Texas. Do you agree?
I agree right now tonight. However, Tennessee is just maybe another loss, and Texas another loss from UCLA, I think, sliding up and taking their position. Right now, it's still awfully fluid with 3 or 4 regular season games to go. Tonight, those are the #1 seeds.
All right, the #2 seeds. Now, this is interesting. If you look over on the RPI side, because if you go by that, these teams would not be #2 seeds, but just the same, Duke, Kansas, UCLA, and Xavier.
The team to keep an eye on is Xavier. The reason why I say that, look who they're grouped in there with. An ACC team, a Pac-10 team, a Big 12 team, and right below them, a couple of teams from the Big East. Xavier is not in a power conference. Now, how will that play out come Selection Sunday in the selection committee's eyes? Normally, it tells you they're going to have to be maybe perfect from here on out to hang on to that #2 seed. They could do it because they are outstanding. They have 2 senior guards, but Xavier, a non-power conference right now, can they hold their own with the big boys in the eyes of the selection committee?
In the Atlantic 10 tournament, you also never know what could happen to Xavier in that one. #3 seeds, well, the Georgetown Hoyas he has there. So you have to have Louisville because they're tied with Georgetown right now atop of the Big East. But again, if you look at the RPI, you wonder if these are in fact #3 seeds.
Well, right now, I think Louisville is the team to keep an eye on. I think they could slide up and maybe move to a 2 seed, which would be awfully important because this is a ball club that has all the ingredients. David Padgett inside and 3 other bigs that you have to respect as scorers. Edgar Sosa, very underrated on the perimeter. And remember, Rick Pitino in preseason said this is his most talented team he's ever had at Louisville. And this is a Louisville team that's been to the Final Four under him. Keep an eye on Louisville right now. They might be peaking at just the right time, and they could slide up to a #2 before it's all said and done.
And a lot of people say, you know, what's the big difference between being a 1 or 2 or a 3? Well, guess what? There's a huge difference. Take a look at these recent stats. Since 1985, you see the #1 seeds, Sweet 16, 65 and 15. If you're down to a #3, 21 and 23. So it makes a huge difference.
Not a huge difference in the 1s and 2s, but if you're in the conversation right now for any of these top 3 seeds, you're fighting like crazy to try to stay out of that 3 seed if you have the potential to be a #2. Look at the bottom right-hand corner graphic. In the round of 16, the #3 seeds are actually below 500 because of the quality of the opponent you're going up against. If you're in the conversation like Louisville and Stanford and Xavier, you're doing all you can right now to go from a #3 to a #2 because of that graphic right there.
Don't you think, though, as we close out these final 2 weeks, it's going to come down to the conference tournaments, who's going to get a 1 or 2 seed?
It seems like it always does. We have all these formulas and RPIs, everything we talk about, but it's almost like on Selection Sunday, who won the ACC tournament? North Carolina, boom, they're #1. Who won the Pac-10? UCLA, boom, they're #1. It could play out this way again. The power conferences, they have a lot of stuff and a lot of stuff in their truck that they can dump in that selection committee's lap.
All right, still a lot of games to be played, and then the conference tournaments to find out who'll be a 1 or a 2 seed. Stick around. More to come in a moment.
This halftime report is delivered by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
All right, international shipping. Well, your products are on a plane, ready to go to your customers in Europe to arrive on Friday. But Italy wants it there by noon, Paris early morning, and London late afternoon. Well, if you had a UPS logo, now when your customers ask, you can say, si, oui, and yes. It's not international shipping. It's international shipping with UPS. And you even got a little tailwind.
This halftime report is delivered by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
Well, Hall of Famer Vivian Stringer looking for her 800th career victory, but Rutgers trailing DePaul right now, 11-7 early in that game. If she doesn't get it tonight, she would face Syracuse on Saturday. And then, if she didn't get it then, she'd have to face number 1 UConn on Monday at 7 on ESPN2. Some highlights out of the SEC. Florida against Georgia. And Jimmy, the 3-ball going early and often.
Well, when Florida makes them, they're tough to handle. A very important game for Florida, John, when you consider right now they're probably one of the last 4 teams that would be in the NCAA tournament if the bids went out tonight. They are 1 win away from getting their 8th win in the SEC. But the remaining schedule, Mississippi State, Tennessee, at Kentucky, they must win this game tonight.
This is Hodge knocking down a 3 on the tail of the 2 threes by Calathan. And then Warner goes to work as well.
They're hard to guard because all 5 guys Billy Donovan can put on the floor can shoot, because you know what? If you can't shoot, you don't get recruited by Billy Donovan.
In the ACC, Florida State up over NC State 32-24. Been a disappointing season for NC State. And Miami, remember, this is a team that knocked off Duke, getting knocked out by Clemson. 21-6 is the score there. Now, speaking of the ACC, what to watch for? Coming up next right here on ESPN, Georgia Tech facing Duke. Duke down to number 6 right now.
John, they are what they are, Duke. They don't have that low post presence, and they're not going to have one in the next month. So what you look at Duke right now, yes, they've struggled, and the reason why, everything they do centers around the fact they don't have a low post scorer or a low post defender. So it's all about effort, and it's hard to bring maximum effort every night, and that's what Duke has to start doing again.
That's coming up at 9. Now, news and notes. Roger Clemens' denial of steroid use warrants further investigation. Congress said on Wednesday asking the Justice Department to determine whether or not the star pitcher lied under oath. Utility man Scott Spezio was cut by the St. Louis Cardinals on Wednesday, released after police issued a 6-count warrant for his arrest following a December car crash. And Myron Cope, the former Pittsburgh Steelers color analyst, has passed away at 79 years of age. Our second half is coming up. Kansas right now with the lead over Iowa State.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Jockey. Visit us online at jockey.com. And GMC. We are professional grade.
You have to be here.
Welcome back to Wednesday Night Hoops, presented by Staples. Part of Judgment Week, presented by Jockey. And back here in Hilton Coliseum in Ames, Iowa. All Kansas in the first half leading 36-23. So welcome again, Dave Barnett and Stephen Bardo. And it seems pretty obvious. This is a Kansas team that is bent on showing that the team that's lost 3 of their last 7 is not the real Jayhawks.
No, they got after it early. Darnell Jackson and Daryl Arthur were really impressive in the paint, and then they were really able to work themselves out. Arthur shows you what he can do here. Quickness in the paint with a nice jump hook. And then this here, the dribble, drive, spin against the 6'10" Alex Thompson. Very impressive, but Yuri Ubelik on the other end showing you the pick and pop that a lot of European big men can do. And there's a pick and pop again, but right here it gets a little funky along the baseline with the spin off the glass.
First half stats brought to you by Liberty Mutual, and the Cyclones shooting just 30%, out-rebounded by 8, outscored in the paint by 14, and in that 30%, you have Johnson 4 of 7, Ubalik 5 of 8. They're 9 of 15. Their teammates are 0 for 15. Help. Somebody's got to help.
Somebody's got to step up, and looks like Iowa State has pushed, has come out really aggressive, extending their defense.
Arthur's first shot rebounded by Jackson, but he steps over the end line.
Wow, they are going to let them continue to play. Bodies flailing. Jackson only man standing, but I guess he was on the baseline.
Only point other than the 11 apiece by Ubalik and Johnson, a free throw by Rashawn Clark, the only made free throw for either team in the game. Kansas did not get to the line at all in the first half. 13 for Wesley Johnson.
Oh, Wesley Johnson looks smooth shooting that jumper.
Traveling.
Well, Hilton Coliseum faithful trying to get into it. Great fan support here for Iowa State over the years. And no difference this year.
And they have split their all-time meetings with Kansas in this building.
Well, Danny Manning told us earlier today he never won here.
Finally, help for Rubalit and Johnson, and not surprisingly, it's a three by Sean Aleska.
Look at the intensity defensively, trying to deny the guards.
Short on the baseline is Jackson. Deontay Garrett. Slowed by Robinson. And Aleska tries to feed Wesley Johnson inside. Opened in 1971. 18-18. The only team they don't have a winning record here against the Big 12. Aleska feeling it after a scoreless first half. Timeout. Cyclones get the first 7 points of the second half. Iowa State starts the second half hitting 3 out of 3 and forcing 2 Kansas turnovers. A 7-0 run. Kansas 3 losses all away from Lawrence. January 30th at Manhattan. Beasley with 25. February 11th at Austin. Connor Ashley with 16 points, leading a 3-point Longhorn win. And February 23rd, Saturday at Oklahoma State, as Brandon Rush misses the last shot to pull it out. 61-60 for Sean Sutton's Oklahoma State Cowboys. Will Self's on the monitor, pull that one out. Here, Iowa State very quickly starts the second half on a 7-0 run.
Well, what's happened when Kansas turns the ball over, that's when they get in trouble, and that's what's happened in their 3 road losses.
Wide open is Arthur with 14. As many as he had in the last 2 games combined.
Well, Darrell Arthur and Kansas making a statement saying, okay, we know you're the hot player. We're going to try to get you in position to succeed.
Deontay Garrett hits his own shot, can't quite bank it home. Rush fed by Robinson. Jackson inside. And Stephen Darnell Jackson dealing with family tragedy. His cousin shot at a nightclub back in Oklahoma City. They thought he would survive his injuries, but he passed away. Darnell will leave the team tomorrow to go home for the funeral, but will not miss a game. And Roderick Stewart, not with the team tonight, attending his brother's funeral. He was shot by a longtime friend at a traffic light. So how in the world do the rest of the Jayhawks find ways to help Darnell and Roderick deal with those tragedies? Here, Sharon Collins fouled by Garrett.
Well, Dave, you circle the wagons and you act as a family. And when you're thinking about Darnell and he's going back to his place, you give him a call, or you ask him to come out to dinner, or you ask if you can help with anything. When Roderick Stewart gets back with the team, you do the same thing. And you just try to be as much of a family as possible. And those guys, if they need time by themselves, they'll let you know, but it's better to let them know that they're there to support those guys. And it's just a terrible situation for this team, Kansas, to go through, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and this might be a blessing in disguise for the Jayhawks going down the stretch.
Collins hits the first 2 Kansas free throws of the night. And, you know, Bill Self did not use those tragedies as a reason why his team has not played well when we talked to him today, but it has to be a reason.
Oh, it's definitely affecting them, because even Darnell Jackson has said on the court, sometimes he loses focus because he drifts and thinks about family members. He's had a number of family tragedies since he's been at Kansas.
And the Jayhawks now figuring out a way to get to the free throw line.
We got a chance to talk to Darnell this afternoon and ask him, is he keeping his head up? And he gave us a smile, which they say in Lawrence doesn't happen that often. So I think the big fella is doing okay under the circumstances.
Russell Robinson's first point of the night. 3-year starter out of New York. And the last couple of times down, Jayhawks at all 4 free throws. And the lead, just like that, is back to a comfortable 14.
Terrific answer in the last 2 minutes by the Jayhawks. Felt the push from Iowa State, but got the ball on the break, got it in the bucket, going to the hole, put the pressure right back on Iowa State.
Jackson did with his first and the second team foul. It's still a remarkably whistle-free game. Not so much in the second half, but still. That's how many fouls there were in the entire first half right there, 2 apiece.
But you know what, Dave, and I said it in the first half, players like this type of basketball game. They don't want to sit there and have the play stop every 2 minutes by a whistle. They like the flow. They like the intensity.
Wesley Johnson, not quite. Had 3 first-half threes.
Well, Rush really trying to get his shot off.
Traveling Arthur. Judgment Week, presented by Jockey, continues tomorrow here on ESPN at 7 Eastern on the Big East. Notre Dame, Louisville. 17 against 18. 9 Eastern. ESPN2 has Michigan State, Wisconsin matchup. Great one from Madison. Thursday Night Showcase presented by T. Rowe. Price foul on the way to the hoop. Second on Darrell Arthur. Timeout. Kansas by 14 and suddenly noisy Ames, Iowa. What you think?
Welcome back as Kansas has muscled their way to a 14-point lead. A little discussion here about the last call. Take a look at Arthur right there, grabbing the rim and fouling Ubelik at the bucket. That should be goaltending right there. Any interference on the rim while the ball is on the cylinder, that's an automatic goaltend, and it looks as though Kansas is going to get a break there, Dave.
Shouldn't that be reviewable? That's not hard to see. You don't want to add too much to the list of things that are reviewable on video. Zabalik misses the first, and that's an easily correctable mistake. Unfortunately for Greg McDermott, not here. And Ubalik misses both.
Well, the fans don't like it, but Ubalik's got to step up and knock those 2 down. Just a small margin of error when you're playing against one of the best teams in the country.
Cyclones were 4 of 9 at the line at Tech on Saturday. 1 for 4 here. And Garrett almost gets the steal. 10 on the shot clock for Robinson. Kansas looking to add to an 8-0 run. And Darnell Jackson stays after it. Knocked out the rush. And he's fouled by Garrett. His second.
Deontay Garrett trying to do some good things on the floor. Got his hand on the loose ball. Forced Robinson to the bucket, but untimely foul there as they're scrambling to try to come up with loose ball.
Collins sees it opening. Can't get it. And Iowa State ball off Sasha Khan.
Well, that was a nice move by Collins. Tried to teardrop off the glass and just wouldn't fall for him. But if you're Kansas, you like the aggressiveness, continuing to make the effort to get to the hole.
John also picks up his first and the team's 4th foul. Twice as many fouls on Kansas as they had in the entire first half in 5 minutes here in the second half. As Ubalik takes an extra step. We saw him make a very similar shot in the first half. Got a little more crowded this time when he tried it.
Got a little bit more crowded, and he thought he was back in Europe with this extra step, little hop, skip, and jump. A little too much for the college game.
More crowded, I'd say. 4 Jayhawks were in the vicinity. As Chalmers is going to be helped up. Brian Peterson back in for Iowa State, as Garrett will sit after his second foul a moment ago. Cyclones scored the first 7 of the second half to close within 6, and Kansas has scored 8 straight since. And they continued to absolutely own the glass. Driving for his 3rd bucket, Sasha Khan.
Brandon Rush created that shot right there. Iowa State double teaming Rush, trying to contain him. Sasha Khan does what big men should do in a pick and roll situation. Go right to the hole. Good job by Sasha Khan.
And the first points for the freshman Craig Brackens out of Palmdale, California.
Coach McDermott talked about Brackens. Maybe they're asking too much of the freshman, but he has a tremendous amount of talent, but thinks that scoring points is really the most important way that he can affect the game, and they're trying to get him out of that mentality.
His goal for his 3rd and the team's 4th.
Watch Sasha Khan go right to the hole. Look at the double team on Rush. Iowa State concentrating on Rush, but Khan taking advantage. Young men and women, if you're playing the game and you're playing the center or power forward position, that's how you go to the hole in a pick and roll situation.
3 for Brandon Rush. His 2nd basket, both have been 3. Biggest lead of the game, 17 for KU. As Brackens will earn a trip to the line, courtesy of 2nd foul on Khan, team's 5th. Saturday Judgment Week, presented by Jockey, ABC and ESPN, 3:30 on ABC. Number 2, North Carolina against Boston College, 9 Eastern here on ESPN. If you haven't seen Michael Beasley yet, that will be a contest as Kansas tries to get revenge for their loss at Manhattan. College basketball presented by KFC, Saturday primetime presented by DirecTV.
You know, Kansas State is young enough to go into Lawrence and really push them. There's Beasley freshman, Walker redshirt freshman, Jacob Pullen freshman, and they play hard. That'll be a tremendous battle in the Big 12.
Really surprising to find out that it had been 25 years since Kansas State had won at home against these Jayhawks. I mean, that included the Mitch Richmond Kansas State years.
That's right. Just a tremendous dominance of the Jayhawks. And boy, that place looked like it was bedlam. And Michael Beasley and company did their thing.
Forcing Chalmers to give it up. Now Jayhawks work it inside. Arthur, hard to stop all night. That time the hook a little bit long.
Arthur got the shot he wanted. Back Johnson all the way up under the bucket. Just didn't finish.
Wesley Johnson missing the 3. Rush, does he have another one? Bottom of the net on 3 from long range. Biggest lead for the Jayhawks, now up at 18.
See the difference? Wesley Johnson shooting quick in the shot clock. I believe, Dave, he can get that shot anytime. But what it does is it gets Kansas on the break.
Worth another look.
Well, you run the fast break. Sharon Collins recognizing he has Rush trailing. Nice drop off. One of the easiest 3s in the game when you have full momentum to step in to a 3 and Rush delivers.
Khan just picked up his 3rd personal. Put Wesley Johnson on the line. And Khan will take a seat.
Khan did an excellent job when he was in there, throwing his body around, getting to the bucket.
$14 for Wesley Johnson, who was held to 2 at Texas Tech. And the starting backcourt of Peterson and Johnson, between them, did not have a single assist. Iowa State can't win that way. They lost by 12 in Lubbock. And a wide open invitation for the lay-in for Collins.
Well, the partying of the Red Sea, when Darnell Jackson gets his body on you, he's going to create some space on a pick.
19 is the lead for KU. We hit 8 minutes gone in the second half. And Bracken's wide open. Shot Iowa State cannot afford to miss really the rest of the way if they want to get back in this thing. Started the second half with a run to get within 6 after trailing by 13 at the half, and now
19. Well, the pride of the West Side Chicago. Stop and go. Now you see me, now you don't.
John Saunders back in the studio. SportsCenter in-game. Another game out of the Big 12. Texas A&M against Texas. Dominic Cook. Three-pointer, and he drains it right there. As right now, A&M is leading Tech 23-12. Florida State all over NC State. And that's a surprise. Clemson, how much they're beating Miami by 41-24. Don't forget, coming up next, Duke and Georgia Tech. Dave, back to you.
And John, we should all be having as much fun. I don't think he realizes it's a 19-point game. He'll learn his numbers soon enough. Well, the Big 12 last year limited to 4 teams, and they did not include a 10-6 in the conference, Kansas State. Could that happen this year?
I don't think so. I think any team at 10-6 in the Big 12 is competitive as a conference has been this year. Definitely should get in. Big 12 leads the nation in victories and winning percentage against nationally non-ranked league opponents. So, I mean, you know, the conference itself has been tremendous in what they've been able to accomplish.
Alaska, not the dead-eye from 3 tonight that he has been for the last month or so after starting the year 0 for 26. Arthur has, on the other hand, he's got 16.
Well, they're putting on a clinic in big men getting to their positions, getting to their sweet spots in order to score.
Kansas in a building where they were pushed to overtime here last year before winning 68-64. And the forced 3 denied by Wesley Johnson.
Darrell Arthur a little upset, but not going to stop that jumper right there.
Arthur feeling it. A little bit overshot. Deontay Garrett back in has the board. Jayhawks 19-point lead. Cut maybe here by 3. First points by Garrett.
Nice job of Garrett using the traffic in there. Yuri's trying to go down the lane, but uses Yuri beautifully to rub off his defender and get to the bucket.
Chalmers commits his first and the team 7th. They'll have a bonus the rest of the way. Didn't get close in the first half when both teams were called for only 2 fouls. Garrett, a 68% free throw shooter. No 3-point play. And on a night when Iowa State needed to have every cylinder firing, they're only 4 for 9 from the foul line. Second straight game, they're 4 for 9. Traveling on Collins.
Loses his footing there. Coach Self he's just not happy at all with his team's inability to take advantage of every play. And then that's what I like about Bill Self right there. Knows how to communicate with young players.
It's impossible to imagine someone not having a good time playing for Bill Self.
Isn't it? Until you do something wrong.
For about 10 seconds then.
I don't know. I mean, I remember Bill at Illinois, and I was doing a radio for him, so I spent a lot of time around him. He does a great job of working with the young people, but boy, when you're in his doghouse, or he's hot at you.
He'll make his point.
Yeah.
Peterson makes his first points from 3. And halfway through the second half, Iowa State back within 14. Down as many as 19. Fifth year in Kansas for Bill Self. And his worst Big 12 record, 12-4. First 2 years there.
talking about great consistency and what Self is able to do with his ball club. I'll tell you, from my vantage point, me being an alum of Illinois, when he came to the University of Illinois, he brought that program out of the dark ages. They weren't quite where they are now. He brought them to a national level with a tremendous amount of consistency, and he's done the same thing here at Kansas.
Johnson steals the pass from Chalmers. Jared tries to hurry up the floor. Out for Johnson. Another three. 20 for Wesley. And another Kansas timeout. 7th 20-point game for Wesley Johnson, within 4 of his career high.
Well, they're looking for him on the break. Deontay Garrett, good job of recognizing where his teammates are on the floor. I thought he got a little too deep, Dave, but he was able to find Johnson sliding along the three-point line. That's good recognition by Garrett, the freshman point guard out of Milwaukee.
11 unanswered by the Cyclones. So they've had 2 runs here in the second half. First 7 to start the half. Kansas stretched it. Probably some of the folks here wondered if it was beyond reach, and now the Cyclones have it down back to a single-digit deficit. Plenty of time.
There's plenty of time, Dave, and they really haven't gotten the ball to Yuri Ubelik. He hasn't really done much here in the last 3 minutes. If they can get him going, get to the bucket, draw some fouls, pick and pop him on the three-point line, get him more involved, they could be in pretty good position here.
Big possession here for the Jayhawks. Arthur doubled inside. So he has to come inside the circle, and he overthrows Jackson. The 11th Jayhawk turnover.
Well, they got the high-low action they wanted, but Terrell Arthur led his fellow big man just a little too much that time.
Cyclones chance to get it down to single digits under the 9-minute mark. Oleska. For his spot, Peterson found his. He knew it was off. So did Ubala. And a nice read off the rim. Ubala still scoreless this half at 11 at intermission. Led them in scoring 7 straight games. One-on-one inside, way wide off the glass.
He thought he got fouled there. Talking to the referee running down, but you can't fade. You've got to go to the bucket. You fade away. A lot of times the officials won't give you the contact.
Arthur from Rush. Tapped over to Peterson. Jayhawks still on the glass, 36-23, and the Cyclones still at 36% from the field as Arthur commits number 3. And a timeout. 7:57 remaining. Kansas 57-46.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Staples. That was easy. And in part by Volkswagen. It's the Sign Then Drive event. Get into any 2008 VW for practically just your signature.
Sports Under 30 at 30 update. Roger Clemens' denial of steroid use warrants further investigation, Congress said Wednesday, in asking the Justice Department to determine whether or not he lied under oath in testimony to the House committee. Utility man Scott Spezio was cut by the St. Louis Cardinals on Wednesday, released after police issued a 6-count warrant for his arrest following a December car crash. Don't forget, coming up next, it's Duke against Georgia Tech. Anthony Morrow trying to make it back-to-back against the Blue Devils. Coming up.
All right, John, and here's 7:57 remaining. Kansas leading by 11. But still the feeling that in the next couple of minutes, Iowa State can determine whether they're going to be competitive the rest of the way or not.
That's true, Danny. They've got to really make inroads into this lead, and if they can get to the 5 or 6 point deficit, then this place will erupt and may be able to carry them over the top.
Ubalik has missed all 3 of his free throws. Still scoreless in the second half.
Sean Clark talking to Uri and trying to get his confidence up.
In fact, he has missed 9 of his last 10. Finally gets that one. Just 1 for 6 in Lubbock Saturday. Russell Robinson. Reverse course. Couldn't coach the layup in. Rebounded by Rashawn Clark.
Oh, Garrett's got to feed Ubalik on the block.
And Wesley Johnson turns it over to Rush. So Iowa State unable to turn the stop at one end and the points in the other.
See, when you have big men running the floor like that, Ubalik ran the floor and got ahead of the defense, had great position. You got to give him the ball.
Brandon Rush, a chance at a three-point play. 3 threes. This is first 2. He may turn it into 3.
Here's a veteran of Big 12 play. Rush recognizing Iowa State trying to make a little run. What's he do? Gets to the hole and one opportunity.
Both teams have the bonus now. Rush is 77% free throw shooter. It's the Jayhawks back up by 13. We approach 7 minutes remaining.
Davey talked about Kansas being the #2 field goal percentage shooting team in the country. And that's why they've only shot 9 threes. Everything else has been at the bucket.
Brian Peterson scoreless in the first half. Nails his second 3 here in the second half.
Boy, Mario Chalmers got crushed on that pick.
3-0 to 2. Bell on the line. Inside goes Sasha Khan for Kansas. He'll have a shot at 3. First foul on Ubalik.
Why Sasha Khan do his work early. Look at the work here early. Ubalik can only grab. Look at the work right there. Before his teammate is ready to feed the rock, Khan was already in position to receive the pass.
And Khan missing the front end. Cyclones unable to take advantage of the fact they have actually gotten to the line more than the Jayhawks have. Wesley Johnson and Khan read that one all the way. Barely had to lead his feet to get the block.
Johnson just not all the way healthy. You can see he doesn't have a lot of bounce in there in the paint.
Brandon Rush not there for 3. Garrett picked up by Robinson. Off the jump stop. And a quick timeout by Greg McDermott. With the Cyclones back within 11. Judgment Week presented by Jockey continues tomorrow here on ESPN at 7 Eastern. Notre Dame, Louisville. 9 Eastern, ESPN2 from the Big Ten at Michigan State and number 9 Wisconsin. This Thursday night showcase presented by T. Rowe Price. What's your read on the Big Ten?
Well, I think Ohio State has really struggled down the stretch. So if I'm selection committee today, I look at the top 4 get in. Ohio State and Minnesota. Nah. I think the top 4 right now, because Ohio State doesn't have a win against those top 4 teams. They've really struggled.
Can Indiana continue what they started under Kelvin Sampson with a coaching change in midseason? Nobody has to deal with that.
No, I think they can. They've got a unique blend with Eric Gordon, who is right there among the top guards in the nation, regardless of a freshman. And DJ White should be the Big Ten Player of the Year, having an outstanding season. And when you have a 1-2 punch like that, Indiana's the best scoring team out of the Big Ten. I think that they're rallying around Dan Dockich, and they're going to make some noise.
Rush with a mismatch, short over Peterson. Blocked down, though, by Darrell Arthur. And a reset out to Chalmers. Double-double for Darrell Arthur. That was his 10th rebound to go with 16 points, 4th double-double of his season, and 6th of his career. And Chalmers will be stepping to the line.
Well, that 12 rebound advantage that Kansas enjoys right now, those offensive opportunities just bury you when you're trying to come back.
And the Cyclone needing to watch his fouls as Brackens with 3. Chalmers hits them both. His first points of the half, 12 for the game.
Craig Brackens, the very promising freshman for Iowa State. He had a more typical night for a freshman, even though it's been an atypical year for freshmen around the country. He ran up against 2 very powerful big men, Arthur and Jackson, and he's sitting as a result.
Rubalik unable to hit over Kahn. And the Cyclones have played harder, better in the second half. They had absolutely nothing to show for it. They're right where they were, down 13 at intermission. Kansas will do that to you.
Well, they don't give you a break. They play tough, physical, denial defense, and then they come on the offense and pound the ball inside. You just never get a break against them.
Bill Self really only going 8 deep tonight with Roderick Stewart not with the team to attend his brother's funeral. Shot at a traffic light a few days ago. Darnell Jackson again will leave the team tomorrow and attend another funeral back in Oklahoma. His cousin lingered for 11 days after being shot in a nightclub and passed away a week ago. Kansas dealing with tragedy. Losses in 2 of its last 3 games, 3 of its last 7, but tonight looking like the Kansas everybody thought would be the class of the Big 12 coming into this year. As they have been the last 3. The last 3 Big 12 regular season and the last 2 tournament titles. Needing this win to get back within a game of first place Texas. Win tonight, they go to 10-3. Longhorns 11-2. As Arthur picks up number 4.
Look at those numbers right there. That's an incredible statistic out of all the tremendous players that have come through the Big 12. Sean Clark showing you his versatility and what he's done in his career here at Iowa State.
He is the only 4-year player left with this program, which saw 8 scholarship players leave after the hiring of Greg McDermott. So talk about a program that had some stuff to deal with. They had to completely clear the decks here in Ames. But they got a coach who took Northern Iowa to the heights. 3 straight NCAA tournaments in his 5 years at NIU. So a track record, and they got him in state. Brackens, all 6 here in the second half. They are back within single digits.
And that's the first time Garrett hit the big man running the floor. He gave it to Brackens early before the defense was able to set up.
Chalmers with a huge 3-pointer shot of the game for KU. And his 3rd 3.
This Kansas squad, they love getting the shots that are considered valuable.
And they're not afraid to go hard after every loose ball. Russell Robinson banging into our table here. Up okay. Timeout. 3:37 remaining. 3rd 3 of the night for Mario Chalmers as the Jayhawks up 12.
Memphis coming off their only loss of the season, and boy, have they bounced back. 38-17 is the lead right now over Tulsa. We'll, of course, keep you up to date on that one. Greg Paulus and Duke They are coming up next as they will face Georgia Tech. Duke, of course, fighting for one of those top seeds in the NCAA tournament. That's coming up.
And the same could be said of Kansas, currently ranked 7th. Be hard to find somebody in Lawrence who doesn't think they at least have it in them to be a top seed, and they've shown their usual balance tonight, led by Darrell Arthur.
Yeah, that's just incredible sharing of the wealth by the Jayhawks, which we've seen all season, and that's what makes them so difficult to stop. When you can get close to 4 players in double figures and 2 others knocking on the door, you can only pick your poison against this Jayhawks squad.
Arthur led the way with 12 in the first half. They opened up a 13-point lead at the half. Iowa State briefly headed down to single digits a couple minutes ago. Here's Sean Haluska finding an opening all the way. 7 points, all here in the second.
Sean isn't quite as big as his older brother Adam, but he's got that pep in his step. Surprising athlete.
Cyclones Johnson goes after the loose ball. He is tied up by Robinson, and the arrow belongs to the Cyclones. On 10 with 3:11. Sean's brother Adam, 1 year here at Iowa State, transferred to Iowa, now with the Rockets. Big Ten scoring leader last year for the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, Adam had a really good career over it, especially at Carver Hawkeye Arena in Iowa City, where he had some memorable finishes over there.
Under 3 minutes in a 10-point game. Ryan Peterson screened by Brackens, who rolls, but Peterson can't get it to him. And they have to use the timeout. Judgment Week, presented by Jockey, tomorrow here on ESPN with the Notre Dame-Louisville matchup, 17 against 18. 7 Eastern, 9 Eastern, ESPN2 from the Big Ten as number 15 Michigan State at number 9 Wisconsin. Your take on the Big East. It's very crowded at the top.
Yes, very competitive as well, and West Virginia, I believe, will get in. So the only one on that list right there, Cincinnati 13-13, not so much, but top 6 rather. It should be a lot.
Even with a great tournament run, can Cincinnati somehow squeeze out one of the last bids?
To me, Dave, they didn't get hot into the Big Ten Conference. They struggled a little bit in the non-conference schedule and had some bad losses, and I don't know if they can overcome that even with the deep run in the tournament.
Iowa State has not been able to overcome only 1 second-half point by their scoring leader, Yuri Ubalik, who had 11 in the first half. He's led them 7 games in a row. Wesley Johnson leads tonight with 20, but that one well short.
He's playing on 1.5 legs. Just doesn't have the pop or the bounce to push off there on the step back.
Greg McDermott going with a small group here. First, once they get it, really to look for nothing but threes. We near the 2-minute mark. Arthur set up perfectly by Chalmers.
The use of the pick and roll and the pass and the slip, that's textbook execution.
18-10 for Darrell Arthur. Haluska in and out off balance. Only 1 3-pointer tonight for Sean. 1 out of 5 beyond the arc. 6 of 7 the previous 2 games. Chalmers. And a double bonus situation for Iowa State.
Watch the crispness of what you're seeing from Kansas. The dribble drive, kick. Arthur slips at the right time. Chalmers finding his big man cutting to the bucket. We saw them work on that play this afternoon and pulled it out right when they needed it.
So Deontay Garrett, freshman out of Milwaukee. All 5 of his points in the second half. Father Dick, former Laker, Buffalo Brave. Nick and Buck.
Deontay got the good bloodlines, but he looks like he's going to be a pretty good player. Looks like he could use a little bit more time in the weight room. He's gotten bounced a couple times by Robinson and Chalmers, but very solid point guard.
Kansas against full court pressure with 1:40. Rush stripped briefly, but Garrett can't keep it in bounds at midcourt.
Second time Deontay Garrett has been around the ball coming up. Yep. Quick hands there defensively.
Now Chalmers would have inbounded in the front court to Arthur. Next foul by the Cyclones, and Kansas will be in the double bonus. Robinson, they kick it back out with 1:25 and 17 more on the shot clock. Now Haleska will put Rush on the line. Guys, player of the game brought to you by Rogaine. With 18 points, 10 rebounds, couple of assists, Darrell Arthur.
Did an outstanding job early. Established his presence in the paint and worked his way out from there, but showed some aggressiveness trying to snap this winless road streak, mini winless road streak that Kansas had there.
And 4 more points tonight for Arthur than he had in his last 2 games combined. So Kansas welcoming back the real Slim Shady then.
It's the real one, huh, Dave?
Hadn't been the last couple. Especially in 17 minutes, all they got out of him in the foul-plagued Saturday visit to Stillwater. Held to 6 points, and they lost 61-60. Getting close to a normal game by Arthur, and that doesn't happen. Wesley Johnson, a little bit long first 3. Captured by Robinson. Foul quickly with 1:02. Robinson with only 2 points tonight, but he has 10 rebounds. It's time for the team lead with Arthur, and also 4 assists. So Russell getting it done without scoring at all from the field. He just got 2 free throws.
Yeah, everybody can't run around and get close-ups and all that and score 15, 20 points. You need some role players on the squad to be successful, and Russell Robinson has hung his hat on that for 4 years in Lawrence. A steadying influence for Bill Self and his ball club.
Yeah, and with as much talent and balance as they have there, for Robinson to win the Mr. Jayhawk award last 2 years for overall contribution says everything that they really think about him.
You know, I know Coach Self would like him to be a little bit more vocal, but that's not his way. He loves to lead by example and sits down on guys defensively, plays the passing lanes well, gets the ball where it needs to go. And when you can get a guard at 6'1" to come up with 10 rebounds, that's effort.
Those 10 boards, by the way, a career high tonight for Russell Robinson. And 3 of 4 at the foul line. Under a minute, Kansas by 13, right where they were at the half. A better second half by the Cyclones. Not nearly good enough tonight. Haleska fouled on 3. Brandon Rush's only foul of the game. Have you ever known a player who wasn't naturally vocal ever to become a vocal leader?
No, I haven't seen that. You know, different teams have such unique personalities, and Coach Self has said that they've been looking for the last couple of years for that vocal leader, but maybe this team doesn't need a vocal leader. Maybe they do it by example, from Brandon Rush to Russell Robinson to Mario Chalmers. They have enough veteran ball players that I think they can get it done. Darnell Jackson, and you know what's in the back of their minds is not necessarily the Big Ten title. It's a deep run in the NC2A tournament.
Yeah, Big 12, they've done.
That's right.
Deep run to the Final Four, which folks have expected really ever since Bill Self got to Lawrence. That has not happened yet. So could this be the year? That'll be the question that determines how people look back at 07-08 for the Kansas Jayhawks. Full court pressure again. Jayhawks beat it easily. And Haleska forced to foul. Russell Robinson with 41.3 seconds.
Well, you look at Kansas and 10-3 after tonight's game, one game behind Texas. But they got the road win here where it appears they'll get the road win here in a very difficult place. Iowa State 4-2 here at home in Big 12 play. So despite their standing, their conference standing, very good here at Hilton Coliseum.
Texas very fortunate to win here in overtime. Jayhawks very mindful of that coming in here. Robinson. 5 points to go with the career high 10 boards and 5 assists. Garrett inside of Jackson and tipped in by Ubalik, quickly followed by a McDermott timeout. And for a preview of what we have coming up, let's go to Mike Patrick.
Coming up at the top of the hour, Georgia Tech and number 6 Duke from Durham. The Blue Devils trying to stay atop the ACC standings with North Carolina, while Georgia Tech trying to get out of the bottom half before the ACC tournament. But right now, back to Dave Barnett.
All right, Mike, we look forward to that one here. Iowa State not closer than 9 here in the second half, down as many as 19. And the Kansas scoring update, Arthur with 18 and 10 leading the way. Are there 2 Final Four worthy teams out of this conference, Texas and Kansas?
I would think so, because Texas is the only team in the country that has beaten 3 teams ranked in the top 6.
One at UCLA. When they were number 1.
That's right.
Late December.
Beat Kansas and
whacked Tennessee on a neutral court.
Rocked them. And
never a competitive game between those two.
Not at all. So you look at Texas, they have the guard tandem that can go deep in the tournament.
Bill Self called the best guards in the country
Best
today.
guards in the country. Damian James playing out of his mind. So Texas, I think, definitely has a chance to get to the Final Four, as does Kansas.
But would the problems they have at the foul line closing out games give you pause about Texas?
Possibly, because I did the Texas at Baylor game, and one of the more bizarre finishes that we've seen, and Texas had a chance to